Yes, guys, hope everyone is good. So I'm going to do a little bit of analysis. This will be sharp and quick today. No blabbering on, simple, straight to the point. It's very simple. It's very easy to spot, and it's very easy to change. I think. So I'll show you what I mean. There's one or two things that I hated and that really annoyed me. The things that we do at university that you need to fix. So professional football teams should be able to fix these quickly. I'll show you them now. Let's go. And I'm going to start. So this is around the 80th minute. I'm going to start with our standard build-up play and how we didn't penetrate, how we didn't affect them. So this is the basic premise here, and I'll go into it. As you can see, we're playing 5 high. 5 high is a way that's used, a lot of coaches use it, right? You get 5 players high up the pitch to occupy the back line, stretch the back line, and find themselves in either overloads out wide or overloads in certain pockets in between the midfielders and the defenders. That's the point of it. However, the idea of this is they're all on different lines. And as you can see, 4 of them are on the same line. Another problem with this is West Brom played a high line. That's a big aspect that I found from watching the game back. There's not a lot of space to actually move in here. You're forced to be on similar line because there's not a lot of space between the defenders and their midfield. But realistically, it's a 3v3. You can see by the red circles. It's a 3v3 in here. They're all on the straight line. They're not occupying anything. They're not in space to receive, clearly. They're not stretching. These 3. They're not doing anything to affect the play. And Ampadu has the ball, and you can see him looking. You can see him looking. So this is the first problem. You're not destabilising their shape. You're not a threat in between the lines. And you're also not a threat in behind at this point because you're not making the runs. So Ampadu commences with the ball. And now, finally, you're seeing the run setting. Patrick Bamford's making a good run out there to occupy this fullback. These 3 in here are still not doing anything to affect the play because these guys are still marking them. So what's the option? And this is what was wrong for me. There was too many straight lines, too many straight runs, too many straight passes. There was no angles, there was no creativity, there was no movement to create angles, to create space, to create overloads. This is where, when you're occupying these guys here, there's all this space. This guy isn't going to commit out there because this allows Cooper more space. So he's kind of doing half and half. If he needs to come in here, he'll go in there. If he needs to go out there, he'll go out there. This is the pass right here. This is where you've got to take that risk. This is where you've got to penetrate early and quickly. It's a low block, or not even a low block, but kind of like a defensive block, right? It's not that low, it's quite high up. But it's a solid defensive shape. You've got to go wide quick. You play from one side of the pitch to the other, and it's got to be done quick. Chris Somerville here, and Ampadu's got that in his locker. He can do that. He's done it loads. That is the pass. That's what needs to happen. A lot of times under Marcelo Bielsa, when we struggle to break teams down, we'd stay extremely wide, and it'd be that early pass from Calvin Phillips or Ben White out to the winger. And this is the pass right here. This is the one that will penetrate. 1v1 out wide. No v1. If this guy goes across to him, we've got 3 guys on the back line ready to make runs in behind. You're in. It's that one pass. And look at Guerrero's positioning, and I don't like it. He's 3 yards away from him, which makes this guy easy to press either of them. He's not affecting the play. He's not been effective. He's not in a position to receive the ball and be effective with it. Again, look at these 2. Doing the same run, the same movements. Ampadu passes to Gruev. It's too straight. It's a straight pass 3 yards away from him on the same line. He's not affecting any of these people. Their striker, I think it was Asante, he doesn't have to move. He doesn't have to press. He's already in front of him. He's passed it 3 yards in front of him. The only option Gruev has in this position is Cooper out there, which is another straight pass, which is still not affecting this block. These 2, again, made the same run, not affecting the play. Bree's still out there, and he's still in acres of space. Anthony is occupying this guy, and this guy is still in the half space. This pass killed us. Didn't need to happen. It was constant and always. Not just Ampadu, every player. And I'll show you next. This is what needs to happen, and I've edited it. Gruev needs to drop deeper. It's that simple. Create depth. From this position, where he's under pressure from this guy, from 3 yard pass from Ampadu, drop 5 yards, Suddenly, you've got a picture and you've got two different angles. There's no angle for Cree here. And this is a straight pass. Create depth. It's simple. Create angles. Now, if Gruev drops 5 yards from Ampadu, that pass there has meaning. Because now you can look up before he's on you. You can analyse what's in front of you really quick. And you can see you have a guy out here who's in acres of space because this fullback's occupied by him, which is good. That's fine. And it changes the entire picture. From this, where there's nothing on, he's already pressing, so the only pass you can do is a straight one across, which isn't affecting it, to this, which can quickly and easily penetrate. It's so simple, and I've edited it even more. Look at these three, watch this. A simple adjustment. Gruev sits deeper, 5 yards. Cooper can go further out, which gives this guy questions. Anthony can come into the half space then. If this guy goes out with Cooper, Anthony can come into that half space, which creates even more space for Cree Somerville to push in that gap. This is it before. Yeah. Anthony makes that run in here. Cooper plays higher, which means this guy will have to make a decision. If he goes out, Anthony can create in that half space, which leaves an even bigger gap. The Cree, who can play even higher, and it's that ball. Simple. Even out there. Because if you go quickly out to Cooper, then quickly into Cree, it's still the same situation. There's so many more options. Just create a little angle, create depth. It's so simple. From this, here, this flat shape, to this, then even this, in a matter of a second. It completely changes shape, completely. You can't see to blow my head. I've edited there as well. Joe Perot behind. Because these two are in the exact same space. Pointless. Absolutely pointless. What I've done. Jorginho, occupy the two centre-backs to make sure they can't go out on Cree. And Perot, just come into the half space and be an option if it's needed, if it needs to come back across. Be a nuisance for these guys. Zero use here. Zero. Create a bit of depth. Just create angles to pass. Because in this position now, we're in. It's so simple. Just drop 5 yards. Go out 5 yards. Go up higher 5 yards. Come out and play on the last line. And I'm saying this, guys, and I know people question FARKE. But he's not telling, I promise you, these players to be this narrow, to be this flat. He's not. Gruev, he's not saying Gruev, play right next to Ethan. Play a yard away from him. Drop deeper. It's simple stuff. It's so simple. So simple. What comes from that? What do we do? Ampadu gives it to Gruev, who gives another straight pass into Liam Cooper. So now these guys are all out the game, and these guys are living. There's no threats. Absolutely none. We played 3 straight passes. 2 straight passes from Ampadu in there, and it's done nothing. Instead of that early one to Cree. That's not on now. Or it's a lot difficult. Because Furlong is now retreating out wide. This guy's now covering that space. And these guys are shifting. And again, these two. All on the same line. These 3. 4. All in the same line. Affecting nothing. 3 straight passes. Or 2 straight passes in here. Has affected absolutely nothing. There's no space to play. Which leads to this. Cooper then gives it to Cree. Out wide. Now look. There's no space in behind. He's tight on him. These two are pointless. And they've got 5 across the midfield. Behind the ball. What could have been. Quick early one over the top from this. Literally 3 seconds later to this. Because we made 3 straight passes across, which affected absolutely nothing. Which affected absolutely nothing. As you can see behind my head, he's marked. These guys are ineffective. The only option is back. Because we weren't aggressive, we didn't pass forward, we didn't create angles, and we didn't create depth. It's so simple. What do? We go back, we pass it around, and I like this bit. This is a good bit. Pirro recognises, finally, the space in this half space. Here it is. We go back. Gruev turns on the ball and trusts himself. Again, what I didn't like is these two out here on the same line that not affect anything. But Pirro recognises this space. That's good. Good movement from Pirro. However, this is just after, by the way. This is the same move. This is like 3 seconds after. Gets the ball in the half space. And there's many options for me here. Many options. Now, and this is where that creative side of that number 10 comes in, because Pirro isn't that creative in terms of key passes, key movements. Thinking of it as a creative player, like an Amiri, for example, that type of player. I'm not going to stand here and say Pirro's terrible. I think people are over-exaggerating. I just think he's not the best for the way we play at this current time. Footballers can be adapted, but you've got to be smart. And I'm showing you, and I know nothing compared to these guys, believe me. And these are just simple adjustments that can be made. But these guys are on the same line, so they're not affecting anything. They're easy to mark. There's no movement in behind. There's no depth. So Pirro gets it in here. They're on the same line. Just a little adjustment again. So at this point now, this is where Gruev gives the ball into Pirro. Somebody has to recognise this space in behind. And then Anthony has to drop wider. This is what you have to keep doing. This is repetition. This is coaching. This is keep going. Understanding the way you play. He goes in there. He's got to recognise the space in behind here again. Because there'll be a 3v2 out wide when Pirro gets in this position. Recognise the space. Anthony, drop wide. Because this guy's following you. He's going to create even more space in behind. So we're in this position here. And he didn't do that. They're both on the same line. And you just look at it like that and think, it's quite simple. Pirro gets a ball in this position. It's an early ball. An early ball in behind. Look how high they are. Look how high their line is. It's ridiculously high. That's option number one. Give the ball out to Anthony. Or Anthony just creates space out there. Which sends Cree out and high and wide and in behind the back line. Because there's so much space for it. Look at it. But what do? We do this. Option 2. Again. So this is what we did. This is fine. Pirro gives the ball to Anthony, makes a younger 3-yard pass. Again, I've moved Cree up. Be an option, Cree. Stay on that last man. Make them think. Because this fullback here, this fullback has no idea. If you're in behind him, he's in trouble. He can't move from this position. You're pinning them back. You're creating depth. There's so much space in behind. Bamford's in a good half space here. So option 2, give it to Anthony. And play out to Rutter. And again, look at the previous position. Rutter just behind my head. Get in that half space. You're too straight to that defender. Get in front of him. Be a nuisance. Be an option. Patrick Bamford in the half space. Doing a good job. Being occupied. Just do that. It's a simple 1-2. Into Anthony. Into Rutter. Once Rutter gets that ball, Ajayi's concentrated on Anthony. Bamford's already made that running behind. Rutter's got that ball. It's a 1v1. Ball through the gap. You're in on goal. Simple adjustments. Simple angles. It's all about angles, people. It's simple. It really is. Football's simple. Even another option before I get into that next bit. And this is from earlier here. When we get it in here, an early one for Bamford. I've not quite got the clip, but an early one for Bamford. He makes that run initially. He does. He makes that space in there, in behind. This guy's occupied. Just clip one over the top of him. Bamford's in there. If Creed don't want to do it, give Bamford that room. He did make that run. And then he came into feet. And this is what people criticise Bamford, but it's about the smartness. It's about what he does off the ball. His movement is decent. He does create options. We've got to find him. We've got to find these spaces. These guys here need to recognise that. Jorginho needs to recognise it. What do? Anthony plays another straight pass. We played 2 passes in here. And it's achieved nothing. All they've done is manage to get people back. But even now when Anthony receives the ball, his initial thought is, I'll go out to Cree. Bamford's made that running behind. He's dragging them. He's creating depth. That should be the winger. The winger should not be there. There should not be 3 players in that combined space. We should have gone back to this, and done either this or this. It's very simple. We didn't. Bamford made that run. We didn't choose that. We chose another straight 3-yard pass to Cree Somerville. As a result, no spacing behind anymore. You've lost your advantages. You've lost your overloads. Cree Somerville has now got 6 defenders in front of him. Anthony's not an option because he's been blocked. Pirro's not an option. Bamford's not an option. There's no space in behind. We have to go back. No depth, no space. Too slow, 2 straight passes, not enough angles, too passive. Gruev kicks up. So this we go back to Gruev, and we result in a really deep, terrible cross into 2 guys in the box against their 5 big defenders. The cross is at the edge of the box. That's the result. From a position here, where there's that or that. Earlier in the move, from what we were to this, which it should have been, or this. Again, behind my head. How better does that look? And it's simple, people. It's so simple. And the move ended with many promising points in this. A 5v2 header at the edge of our box from a deep cross. That's honestly all I wanted to show. I know I blathered on, but it's important to me. I enjoy doing these videos. When I have a bit of time, I like it. Let me know what you guys think about it. And I'm going to say this, like, I know people have criticised the manager. That is on them. It is. But I'm an analyst. It's my job to look at the games back and do these things. This is what I do. This is my job. So I did that. They'll have big teams of people doing that. We need to see improvement from it. Right. It's all right saying this and doing this, but we need to see improvements from it. It's so simple. And these guys who do and work at these clubs are 100 times more than me. They're more experienced. They've been around football much longer. They get it. They've been around top people in the game. From all Daniel FARKE and his coaching staff, anyone around the club, they're at elite level. They will see this. They have to see this. It's simple stuff. Create depth, create space, create angles. Take that risk of that pass if you have to. Create width. It's so simple. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. I appreciate all the support. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.